Let's look at the evolving nature of the Uganda's economy, how the Uganda's economy has been changing since when we were still colonized by the whites. Yeah, the Ugandan economy is an agrarian economy, meaning that it mainly depends on agriculture. It has been carrying out agriculture since time immemorial. So it's an agrarian economy. Peasant agriculture production has been a predominant economic activity for Uganda since pre-colonial time. So since long time, people used to carry out agriculture in the country. It's our thing. Yeah. So let's first look at the Uganda's economy in colonial times. How the economy was when we're still being ruled by the British. First is that Asians became involved in commerce, for example, retail, wholesale, cotton ginning, coffee, and sugar processing. So Asians came as traders and they were carrying out most trade. And they were involved in all forms of trade, retail trade, wholesale, cotton ginning, coffee, sugar processing, and everything. Then Africans, the indigenous Africans, were excluded from wholesale trade. They did not own permanent buildings. So the permanent buildings only belonged to the Asians, and Africans were not allowed to. They were discriminated from wholesale trade. And by 1959, Africans handled less than 10% of the national trade. Most of them were still carrying out agriculture and they were not in trade. And by 1959, Africans held less than 10% of the national trade. Then Uganda's economy at independence. This was Uganda's economy in colonial times. Asians were dominating trade and Africans were still in agriculture. Then Uganda's economy at independence. Uganda got independence in 1962. Yeah, then after, in 1966, Obote took over, things like that. So Uganda's economy at independence. Uganda enjoyed a strong and stable economy in the years approaching independence. And at independence in 1962, the economy was small but one of the most promising in the sub-Saharan Africa. So Uganda's economy at independence or approaching independence, it was strong and it was promising compared to other sub-Saharan African countries. At independence, the total GDP for Uganda was just above 68 million, about 177 billion in today's shilling. So the GDP was also high, 68 million USD. The GDP grew to about 108 million by 1966. Yeah. Then the post-independence decade. So when we are to talk about the Uganda's economy at independence, we say that Uganda's economy at independence was strong and stable in the years approaching independence, and it was one of the most promising in the sub-Saharan Africa. At independence, the GDP was 68 million, which increased to 108 by 1966. That is the Uganda's economy at independence. Then we look at the post-independence decade of 1962 to 1971. Yeah. The post-independence decade of 1962 to 1971 was a period of considerable economic prosperity characterized by, so in the post-independence decade, Uganda was prospering, it was progressing, yeah, in terms of economics. So it was characterized by, first is average annual real GDP growth rate of 6%, the real GDP per capita growth of 3% per annum, economic growth averaged to 4.5% per annum, sound fiscal and monetary policies. Fiscal policies are about government revenue and expenditure. Then the monetary policy is about money demand and supply. So there were sound fiscal and monetary policies, stable prices. For example, inflation never exceeded a single digit, meaning it was below 10. Then the balance of payment was in surplus because of increase in exports. Then stable exchange rate and foreign exchange readily available. GDP per capita was about 512 in 1980. Prices, the fifth highest in Eastern and Southern Africa. The national saving rate among the highest in the region, 13.4. So the national saving rate also increased. Ugandans started to learn how to save. Exports of goods and services accounted for 25% of GDP, and these were able to finance a large proportion of the country's import requirements. So exports increased, which was not the case before independence. Exports increased, and it contributed 25% to the GDP of the country. Yes, so that was the Uganda's economy before independence, and after independence. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends, and watch my next video.